The Man Who Killed Don Quixote is a film by Terry Gilliam, a cinematic fantasist and Hollywood iconoclast whose creations celebrate the dreamer, the outsider, and the rebel. He is best known for his early animation work with Monty Python and later films Brazil, 12 Monkeys, and The Fisher King. For Gilliam, this film, devoted to the prototypical dreamer, Don Quixote, has been his elusive holy grail, with a storied and fraught 30-year development. Its source, Don Quixote de la Mancha, is a two-part Spanish novel written by Miguel de Cervantes in 1605 and 1615, and is regarded as a founding work of Western literature. Gilliam's film mirrors Cervantes' novel, but takes many liberties in recreating the themes for a modern audience. The tension between reality and fantasy throughout the film are central to understanding not only the work itself, but how this interplay of the inner self reflects outwards and responds dynamically with others in society.
I'm Don Quixote de la Mancha.
Don Quixote is a man assured in his conviction that he is a chivalrous knight whose destiny is to save damsels, protect the weak, and find glorious adventures. However, he is a man out of time, as he was in 1600, and certainly so in today's world. His actions and attitudes are clearly deviant, and he stubbornly refutes any attempt to correct this self-perception. It would be easy to argue that he is in fact a madman, completely delusional, and today we might even diagnose him with a range of psychological disorders.
Of course you are. Please arise, Sir Knight.
Yet, Quixote is charming, and his chivalrous convictions are appealing in contrast to the jaded modern world.
The Moorish kings. And there, you see, there they are, the wise scholars, in their robes of white, their heads bowed in prayer to Allah.
Those are sheep.
When he says that a group of wandering sheep are really a group of wise men clad in white robes, there's an aspect of us that wants to believe him. Some of Quixote's deviance can be explained through Robert Merton's strain theory, which deems socially acceptable goals as a factor in determining whether someone conforms or deviates. Under this theory, Quixote could be interpreted through retreatism, where someone rejects society's goals and means, and thus seeks to create their own. Quixote is largely admired by others, stoking a mix of awe and incredulity. By deviating from social norms in a romanticized way, he becomes an agent of social change. His complete trust in fantasy instills the tangibly mundane with meaning and purpose. As a metaphor, we can reflect and notice the way that similar romantic notions permeate every facet of society, through storytelling, religion, art, cultural traditions, and abstract ideals such as love or bravery. Quixote's identity underscores W.I. Thomas's Thomas theorem, which states, "If men define situations as real, they are real in their consequences." Quixote has no real claim to being a knight. He simply chooses to be one. In this way, he wears a mask, presenting an image of himself until it feels tangibly real to not just himself, but those around him. The story is not just about Quixote, but also about his squire, Sancho Panza, whose own journey starts as one of questioning, but then the belief becomes real for him as well. For Quixote, he seeks not only to be a knight, but also to be regarded as one. By being so committed to the role, others comply willingly, embodying Robert Merton's self-fulfilling prophecy. Dualities are clearly evident in the film, representing this process of initial doubt towards eventual acceptance and change. Masks also abound in the film, symbolizing the many ways that we portray ourselves and the ever-presence of imagination. Delusion is the duality of imagination and can shape us in small ways as individuals or greatly as a society. Quixote's delusion provides him meaning and inspires others. Yet, We observe the current ramifications of when an entire populace is subjected to state-controlled propaganda, and the various forms of cults and mob mentalities that arise in complex societies.
Работайте, братья, и будьте спокойны. Вы для нас герои. За Россию, за президента, за Россию!
It is true that one should not always follow belief solely because it provides answers or meaning. My mother, a now retired occupational therapist, spent her life working with the severely disabled. A job early in her career led her to work at a mental hospital. She recounted times when patients with schizophrenia would tell her elaborate and involving stories. The stories were sometimes appealing, but obviously untrue. She ultimately decided that she could not work in that environment because, like Sancho Panza, she was drawn to believe, but those particular windmills were not worth chasing. We all engage in various forms of delusion. When a story captures our imagination, we make a choice to believe it, and in other times, the group before us has already chosen the belief, creating a new social norm or expectation. Following the implications of Thomas's theorem, truth and reality are often irrelevant. What starts as one person's deviant idea can become something harmless and inspiring, like Quixote's chivalry, or terribly affecting, such as Hitler's reasoning that genocide is a path to greatness. The blindfold is a repeated symbol in the film, both times used when a sense of death is present. This alludes to our ultimate delusion, the want for greatness and adventure in spite of our eventual end, and that even in death, we must blind ourselves to accept it. Metaphorically, death is also the end of core beliefs, and the letting go of that belief can be very difficult and certainly reforms identity. That death can include breaking free from delusion, or the acceptance of one. In both cases, the identity and social structures are forged anew. For individuals, it is left to us to decide which are windmills and which are giants. What reality do you want to live in? And would you deviate from the group?
Keep back! You're in grave danger!